Right. Hello and welcome to episode 56 of the ReptiChat podcast, your one-stop shop for all things reptiles. As always, let's do a quick spot of housekeeping before we introduce today's guest. First up, you may notice that one, I look very cold in the studio today, but two, I'm also wearing some ReptiChat merch. That is right. I've been teasing it. Patrons have ordered it. But merch is now available for everybody to buy. It doesn't matter if you're in the UK, in Australia, in America, anywhere. If you want merch, you can get merch. As of today, there is a pre-order open. There's t-shirts and there's hoodies. I haven't got any pictures on the computer, but they've got logo on the front, and then on the back they've got the Gill and I design. There's 5 different colours. They vary from t-shirt to hoodie as well. So if you want to go and have a look, what you can do is DM me. It is a pre-order. So each garment I make by hand. I don't make the actual garments, but they're printed by me. They're made here in-house. So pre-orders. The pre-order is open now and it closes on the 30th of November at 8 p.m. Once the pre-order is closed, I will then begin making them. So it means that UK guys, you should all easily receive them before Christmas. Rest of world, you might receive them before Christmas, but I can't make any promises. But I've done my best to make these garments. I've been testing them since September. Me and some friends have all had samples. There's been a few little changes, but I'm really proud of them. I wanted to produce a high quality, comfortable t-shirt and hoodie, of which they both are. They fit really nicely. This is so warm and it's got big toggles and it's lovely and it's got a big pocket at the front. But I still wanted them to be affordable because quite often some people, well, from what I've seen, merch will be quite expensive. So I've tried to make it as affordable as possible. So if you want to know more, head over to Instagram or Patreon or Discord or Facebook. Probably Instagram is the best place. DM me and I'll send all the information. Right, let's see who is in the chat and then we'll carry on with some more housekeeping quickly. Who have we got today? We have got Paul. He got me on the telly. Have a good pod. Thank you very much. Fiona, early gang as always. Thank you kindly. We have Nay from Pip and Friends. Lovely to have you here. Thank you very much. We've got Dan. Dan is always here. Dan's an OG. Thank you very much, Dan. Catty, thank you very much for coming along. Nice to see you here. Dan saying the t-shirts are fire. Yeah, Dan is one of the people that's been testing the samples, and his is fire truck red, and we decided we're not doing fire truck red, but the quality, brilliant. And then George says hey as well, and she is in the green room just waiting to come on screen. But before that, I've got a bit more rambling to do. The next rambling, I've got to remember to push all the buttons correctly this time. Where am I? Next up is Patreon. Oof. Patreon, you guys are on screen now. Thank you very much for your continued support. Here are a few reasons why you might want to consider signing up to the Patreon if you don't already. 1, there's free UK shipping on merch, and there is a discounted price for the rest of the world, so you still get the same sort of discount, but I can't afford to do free shipping because shipping stuff around the world is expensive sometimes. Number 2, Patreons. You get exclusive stickers that you can't get unless you are a Patreon. Number 3, there's Discord. I did write Discord in it on my script, but I can't say that. I've just said it out loud. I need to stop rambling. You get access to the ReptiSquad Discord where we chat all things reptiles and some things not reptiles. You get to learn who is coming on the podcast before anybody else does. Blah, 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 all that sort of stuff. You get early access to all the vlogs and any pre-recorded podcast episodes as well. And finally, it is literally as cheap as £1 a month, and there is a 7-day free trial. However, Patreon have just changed their settings, so if you're using the Patreon app on iOS, it's more expensive. I can't do anything about it. But what you can do is sign up online and then log in through Patreon on the app afterwards, and it is literally £1 a month. But if you pay for it through Apple, they're charging you more. It's a pain in the backside. Anyway, so yeah, there's a few dangling carrots. Head to the link in the show notes below if you want to know more. And then finally, I remember to turn this off today. Finally, Today's podcast. No, on today's podcast. Today's podcast sponsor. We're getting to the end of the year as well, so this is not going to be a sponsor for too much longer. Haven't had a conversation about renewing yet. But anyway, my good friend Bobby of Rango's Tats. As I'm sure you're aware, there seems to be a link between reptile keepers and people that have tattoos. I don't know where this love for ink and scales comes from, but the majority of reptile keepers have tattoos, and that is why Bobby of Rango's Tats has decided to sponsor the podcast for the next few months. Bobby is based in Bishop Stortford at a studio called Obsidian Ink. If you don't know where Bishop Stortford is, it's near Stansted Airport. I was over with Bobby in August and then again in October, getting myself some tattoos, which I would show you, but I'm wrapped up warm today. So I had 3 tattoos from Bobby, and honestly, every single time, the designs have been amazing, and then he just absolutely smashed it through the roof when the tattoo is done. So yeah. If you are a reptile keeper that likes tattoos or a tattoo enthusiast that likes reptiles, head over to Rango's Tats on Instagram, get chatting with Bobby, start your message with the word ReptiChat so he knows that I sent you. Right, a few more comments I can see. Let me just check those out, and then we'll get today's guest on. Matt, don't worry, you're not late. You missed me rambling, basically. Thank you very much. Catty, if you want me to change it, drop me a DM on Instagram and I will change it for you. Right, so today's guest, she is an Arcadia partner. She is a part of team Educate Don't Berate and a better husbandry enthusiast. Please welcome George of Reptilian Mentality.
Hello.
How are you?
Hi.
Thanks very much for coming along.
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm cold, but apart from that, I'm all good. I need to get a heater in here.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for joining us today. It's lovely to have you.
Of course. It's great to be here.
Brilliant. So I like to start off every episode with the get to know section. Basically, it's 10 this or that quick fire questions.
Okay, let's
We don't
go.
need any explanation, but we'll get straight into them if you are happy. So
yeah, let's go.
First up, cats or dogs?
Dogs.
That's good. We can carry on the podcast. Snakes or lizards?
Snakes.
Nice. Frogs or salamanders?
Frogs.
Centipedes or millipedes?
Millipedes.
Spiders or scorpions?
Scorpions.
Butterflies or birds?
Birds. I'm scared of butterflies and moths. So
my wife's scared of butterflies as well.
Not for me.
I didn't find that out until we went to London Zoo and we went through the butterfly thing, and she was petrified.
When I found out as well.
Yeah. Right, moving on. Grasslands or woodlands?
Ooh, woodlands, definitely.
Beach or mountains?
Mountains. Not a fan of the beach.
No, that's fair enough. Hot climate or cold climate?
Hot.
Nice. And then probably the most important question of the entire podcast. What is your favourite biscuit?
Oh my God. I haven't had time to think about this. Oh my God. What's my
I'm sorry to put you on the spot there.
Biscuit. Maybe do cookies count?
Cookies count. Yeah, we've had all sorts.
Soft baked cookies, like white chocolate soft baked cookie.
Oh yeah, like a freshly baked Subway cookie.
Yeah,
nice.
Gooey ones from pizza takeaways,
Oh yeah, the Domino's ones are good. The new Domino's ones are really good with the caramel in the middle as well. They're amazing.
Ooh. Yeah, you're making me want cookies now. So.
Yeah, I apologise. Awesome stuff. There we go.
Yeah. So, what's your favourite biscuit?
Probably chocolate hobnob.
Okay, that's a.
I love it. I love a chocolate hobnob. They're top
tier.
They're a good dunker as well.
Yeah.
No one's ever asked me that. I appreciate that as well.
Oreos are nice.
I like an Oreo. So this is not a reptile podcast anymore. We're just chatting about biscuits for the next hour.
I'm here for it.
That's fine. No, right. Let's get on to reptiles because otherwise people are going to be going to the shops to buy biscuits and not listening. So George, could you give us a history lesson into who is Reptilian Mentality? Where did your sort of inspiration for reptiles start, where you can remember, and how has it grown to where you are today?
As in what animals I keep, as in my social media?
Everything from I remember watching Steve Irwin on the telly when I was 2, and this is how I've evolved.
Okay, so I can't actually. Oh no, I do remember where I got into reptiles. So My very first like interaction that got me into reptiles was, I remember like I was watching Steve Batchel, like Deadly 60 on the telly. Loved stuff like that as I was growing up as a kid. But I first interacted with a corn snake actually at a children's like birthday party. I've got a little picture of it. I might be able to send it after this.
Yeah.
And I was obsessed, loved it. Was a little bit nervous about the other animals there, like tarantulas and stuff like that. But that was like what really like piqued my interest. And then from there, I kind of knew from sort of 16 years old onwards that I like a pet snake.
Yep.
And then in 2020, I think it was August of 2020, I got Pluto, my Western hognose.
Nice.
And I actually started my TikTok. It wasn't strictly reptiles, but I started a TikTok in, I think it was 2020. And
okay.
I began making very minimal reptile content. And then I started getting into like the husbandry side of it, the ethics and that sort of thing.
Awesome stuff.
I was really inspired by snake discovery. And I really liked is it Reptilian Garden? She's
yeah.
Yeah. And then here we are. I'm an Arcadia partner, part of Team EDB. Yeah.
Awesome stuff. So what are you currently keeping? Apart from the Western hognose, obviously.
Yeah, I've got Pluto, my Western hognose. I've got Nibiru, my crested gecko, and then my two frogs, Neptune and Jupiter, my Vietnamese mossy frogs. And then I'm going to be getting Uchu, my other Vietnamese mossy frog, probably later this month or next month.
Nice. They are really cool frogs. I really like frogs, but I don't have somewhere that stays cool enough in the house in the summer months, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm a big fan. Interesting as well that you had your Western hognose was the first snake you had.
Yeah.
How did you find that? Because it's not most people, their first snake's like a corn snake or a royal.
Yeah.
Like so, hognoses are a bit different. My first snake was Western hognose as well.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Purely by accident as well. I was like 13, 14, and it was 30 quid on Friday ad. Came with a Viv, red bulb. You know, it was terrible. But yeah, first snake. I loved that snake as well.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, no, it was definitely stressful. Like his attitude has always been pretty chill. He was always really good with handling. I was more nervous than anything.
Yeah.
But that was just because he was like, you know, he moved and, you know, all of that. But it was more the feeding.
Yeah.
The feeding was a bit horrific. But after about 3 weeks to a month, he ate, and it's not been fine ever since, but his eating can be a bit on and off. But recently, like, he has been solid in his feeding schedule. So,
cool. Did you get him as a hatchling as well?
No.
Oh, okay.
I got him as a sub-adult, so he was about a year old.
Right. Okay. No worries. Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah, I know that hatchlings can be a bit finicky to get going, but I think once they're going, for the most part, they're pretty good feeders. From what I remember, I haven't kept one for a long time now. I do remember mine used to like mock strike at the food a lot, and they're very, very vocal snakes as well.
Yeah, when Pluto's like a bit pissed off, he will.
Yeah, it was scary as a first snake to have him like headbutting your hand. But yeah, they're cool snakes. To be fair,
I think they're louder than you think as well. Like they are noisy. They got quite a strong hiss.
So when I had mine, it was kept in. I can't remember what size Viv it was, but it had aspen bedding because that's what everybody had at the time. And you could never see him because he was always buried. So you just sort of tap it and wait for the hiss, and then you'd be like, "Oh, okay, he's over here somewhere."
It's quite rare that Pluto will hiss, so I'm quite lucky with his like temperament. He's a really good snake.
No, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
So moving on, to your, I suppose, your Instagram. I know you're on TikTok as well. I don't use TikTok very often for reptile stuff. I just sit there and browse on my lunch break. But something that you're doing a lot on Instagram, I presume TikTok as well, is spreading. How do I phrase it? Like current, up to date, moving forward husbandry.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely.
So why did you start doing this? And yeah, we'll start there. Why did you decide that you wanted to start pushing it online?
I think I saw how not mainstream it was, and I was like, that needs to change. Like, this needs to change. You know, outdated setups, bad choices in equipment, and you know, it was unintentionally harming, you know, keepers' animals without their knowledge, I think, often.
Yeah, I completely agree.
That was, I guess, the starting point. To be honest, there wasn't really like a starting point. It was just like, you know what, let me do this.
Yeah. Oh, excuse me. And then how do you, is there something, I'm trying to find what the right question, the way to answer it. Is there a sort of direction you're heading in, or do you, like, for example, you wake up and go, oh, I've seen someone doing this today, I don't like it, I want to do, like, it inspires you to then do a video? Or would you say you have like oh, I've read this book, I'm going to slowly introduce things that I've learned from the book?
Yeah, more the like second option. Like, I just, as and when really anything new that pops up, like, you know, I've been looking at the Arcadia books recently, so I've been making videos on that. It's been a whole project with Arcadia, and then anything that kind of pops into mind really. But content's been a little bit iffy for me recently, as I've been like starting a new job and things like that.
Yeah, I saw you landed your new job. Congratulations on that. Well done.
Thank you.
No worries.
Very excited.
So why do you think, I don't know if this is the right question or not, but why do you think there is still so much misinformation in reptile keeping? Because obviously there's it's so easy for everyone to go on the internet, Google it, and there's the answer. Like, it takes you realistically 10-15 minutes to find the correct answer. Do you think, what is the reason that you think there is so much misinformation and not bad husbandry but outdated husbandry still happening?
I think the majority of the population aren't necessarily like invested in doing hours upon hours of research. Like, yeah, it might take sort of 10-15 minutes, but I think I would say it takes a little bit longer than that. I think not everyone's on that sort of TikTok and Instagram, YouTube side of things. They're not going to spend their time looking into husbandry and the updated ideas. And I think the lack of research then leads to shortcuts, mistakes which harm animals. And then you've also got larger creators then, if they are watching like YouTube or Instagram or TikTok, that aren't necessarily pumping out the right content. It's definitely better than it was.
Yeah.
And then you've got the other major factor of cost. I think, you know, outdated practices more often than not are cheaper. You know, bioactive masterpieces, like when you're doing that side of things, it's going to cost a lot of money. And I think people just prioritize ease and convenience over anything, if I'm totally honest.
No, it makes perfect sense. I think the hobby, from what I can see anyway, obviously there's a lot of stuff that I don't see, but the hobby in the last 5 years, so like 2019 to the current day, seems to be moving very quickly in the right direction as well.
Yeah, I would agree.
I've been keeping reptiles since I was, I think, 12 years old, and I'm 32 now. So unfortunately a really long time. On and off. But the husbandry from, say, when I was 12 years old to when I was 25, I don't think there was that much difference. The only thing that I remember changing and being like a big change was red bulbs. When I first started keeping, everything had red bulbs because the reptiles couldn't see it, and you could have it on at night so you could see everything. And then a few years later, actually, red bulbs no good. They do have their place, but for the most part, we shouldn't use them. But like in the last 5 years, it's gone boom, like UVB is everywhere now. It's like everyone's talking about UVB and supplementation and stuff. So I think stuff like the videos you're making is definitely helping a lot.
Oh, thank you.
No worries. I'm just going to go and read the comments quickly because I see a few popping up. Paul says the huff of a hognose is a great mimic of a rattlesnake rattle. I would agree. Yeah, they do. They make a good noise. It's so loud as well, to be fair.
It is.
Marshmallow the Python is waving, so hello to you. And Amy's Reptile Adventure says, hey, just catching this one too. It's an exciting Saturday so far. I think everyone's coming over from Paul's episode on the Trap Talk podcast. So thank you very much, everyone that's finished over there and is heading over here now. Right, so one of the things you are doing currently on your Instagram it's like I presume like a small series we're calling it, I guess, is
Kind of, yeah.
You are going through the Arcadia books, of which there are 4.
I
You'll have to remind me of their
I've only
names.
got 3 here because I have the other one in my work bag because I've been reading it at work.
That's
but
cool.
I do have the other 3 here.
Fantastic stuff. So tell us all about the books in a sec. But you are going through picking out your, like, I guess, most prominent things that you want to share and doing the series on those. So yeah, start with what books have you got and give us some highlights, I suppose.
Yeah, I also have an amazing thing that I'm going to reveal, I think, to you guys.
Exciting. We like an exclusive on the podcast.
Of course. So from MBD, I actually did a recent video on this one. I talked about my favorite parts, like the light and shade method. I've got so many tabs in this one. The light and shade method, and also the over supplementation discussion. And I think it's referred to as, is it hyper? Oh god, testing my knowledge now. It begins with a H anyway. I'm not gonna try now. But yeah, basically over supplementation, and it made me really aware of the issues with that. So yeah, there's a video out on YouTube and Instagram of this one.
Okay, can we just touch on that for just a second? The over supplementation. Sure. I was unaware that you could over supplement. So was I. At the moment, I'm only using Arcadia's calcium Pro. I can't remember what it's called exactly.
Oh, and I've got it up here. Yeah, I know the one you mean.
And the revitalized.
Yeah.
So
D3.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I'm not very good with remembering what. I think okay. So can I be over supplementing with those? Because from what I understand, you can't over supplement calcium. Okay, your face for the audio listeners is saying, "Well, you're wrong there, Ben."
No, I think you definitely can. Hang on 1 second.
Yeah, no worries.
Like the
I don't mean to put you on the spot.
No, it's okay. I read this back in 2023. Here we are. The risk of over supplementing is often with D3, which is it can be really toxic for them.
Right.
But yeah, you can definitely oversupply calcium.
Okay. Paul said it's hypervitaminosis.
That one.
And then Marshmallow has said you can over calcium. And Amy has said calcium with magnesium, calcium pro. That's the one. Arcadia is the shit.
Yeah. Love it. But yeah, you should be doing it on like a specific like feeding rota. There's like a 8-day like cycle.
Yeah.
If you follow that, you'll be fine with like 1 gram of the powder. With the new Arcadia product, the SFG, you don't need to supplement with it, which is excellent.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Paul says there, reptiles in correct conditions can regulate calcium better than D3. They can't get rid of over levels of D3. Okay, that makes sense. I'll bring that back up on the screen so you can see the comment better.
Sorry, my eyesight's dreadful.
It's fine.
Like,
that's interesting.
Yeah,
that's cool.
It talks about it in the chapter of what is the D3 cycle and effective supplementation, and there's loads of info on it. It is such a good read. That sounds
like a whole episode in itself.
Yeah.
That's cool. So let's move away from that one onto the next book, I suppose.
Yeah, the next one is Reptile and Amphibian Nutrition. Loved this one. My absolute favorite, it was so interesting, was reading about self-supplementation and earth mineral content. Oh my god, that was insane. Like, basically reptile, and I hope John talks more about this in his new book Earth.
Yeah.
But he talks about how reptiles basically self-supplement from Earth's minerals in the soil, and that's what basically Earth Pro A is. We're trying to like replicate that in captivity. Love it. It's so fascinating. Highly recommend reading. Fantastic. But that is this like standout of this book.
Okay, that's cool. And we'll do the next 2 books, and then we'll go back to the comments as well. So the third book, the books are all by John Courtney Smith as well, aren't they?
Yes. Yeah. And then this one, I haven't got the other one with me, but this one,
right.
oh my goodness, this was my favorite book of all of them so far. And basically, it's got all about plants, mosses. You've got humidity, New Viv syndrome. It goes back to the other books as well, which is really interesting. And then some of my favorite chapters were obviously about the plants and mosses and how to incorporate those and making sure that they're safe.
Yeah.
That was really useful, especially if you're not as familiar with plants and things like that. But also, I loved his like later chapters where it was like looking forward as forward thinkers, a word of warning. What is right for one may not be right for all. Like those chapters were like really like influential, and like I just loved it. Like I was shedding a tear. I was like, oh, this is so powerful.
Fantastic. It sounds like I need to get my hands on some books.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Especially with the new one coming out.
Yeah, that I don't know. Is there a release date for that yet, or are we not quite there yet?
I'm not sure if we've got the release date public yet.
Okay.
I'm not sure if I'm allowed to.
That's fine. No, that's fine. Right, let's see what comments whilst we're still talking about the book. So Paul is talking about calcium still. So he says that's why if you supplement D3 and have UVB, they can get messed up. Okay. And then he goes a bit more into it, and I'm not going to pretend like I know really what's going on, but 2.1 calcium to phosphorus ratio, which roaches are bad as they're 2.1 off the bat. Okay. And last, why reptiles get fed roaches that aren't calciumined and aren't gut loaded are more likely to get gout. Okay, that's interesting. So always dust your roaches. And then Catty is saying,
definitely,
I'm gonna have to grab those books.
Honestly, highly recommend, especially with the new one coming out.
Yeah, and we've got lots of people saying either they love the books or they're going to be buying the books. So I need to get my hands on some books by the sound of things.
Definitely. I'm on like a book spree at the moment. Fiction, non-fiction, obsessed at the moment.
Yeah, I have to admit, I struggle with books. Like I don't have a lot of spare time, and to find the time to sit down and read, I find quite difficult.
Yeah.
So if we can get John to record them as audiobooks, I'll put them in my ears and I'll be there all day, every day listening to them. That's fine. I can do that whilst I'm working, but sitting down and reading the book is hard. But they definitely sound like it's worth picking up and read through.
I do listen on Spotify or Audible, but you're limited on Spotify, and Audible's too expensive right now for me.
Yeah, I've paused my Audible because I had like 12 credits. So I was like, I'm just paying every month and I'm not listening to anything. There's got so many podcasts to listen to.
Yeah.
Right, there's quite an Arcadia heavy episode already. I just we'll carry on talking about Arcadia. Why not? So I said at the beginning, and you said as well, you are on I can't even speak, an Arcadia partner.
Yes.
So for those that don't know, what's an Arcadia partner?
An Arcadia partner is someone that fully reps the brand Arcadia Reptile. I review their newest products. They send me stuff for free. I'm not paid. They just send me things for free. So the SFG range I was sent and the Luminize range I was sent in advance. They've sent me my enclosure for my froggos.
Very nice.
So that I could go on with that project. And I was actually
scouted. Is that an Arcadia?
No, this is Habistat. So they're actually a sister brand to Arcadia.
Good to know.
Yes.
We've got a little shout out for Habistat as well as for Arcadia there.
Love Habistat as well. And I was scouted by the lovely Jodie, and they invited me to work as an Arcadia partner.
Fantastic.
And I don't know if you know much about like Arcadia's ethos, but they're really about natural, ethical, just updated methods of husbandry. And I'm with that. So
yeah,
I'm happy to work with the brand.
Yes, I am not in any way, shape, or form affiliated with Arcadia, but I am a big fan of their products. And I was lucky enough; they did send me some FSG stuff to try it out. Big poster in the background. Got a little poster.
I've got mine up as well on my door.
Nice, and the geckos seem to be absolutely loving it at the moment as well. I put a reel up earlier today. I made some FSG up, put it in with my morning geckos. Went upstairs, came back down, and I've never seen so many geckos on the food at once. Oh my god! And it was literally like 2 minutes.
Love it.
So yeah, big fan of that. So let's talk Arcadia partnering. What if obviously I don't know what you're allowed to share and what you can't share. So, you said Jodie headhunted you. How did she? Was there something in particular that she liked that she wanted you to integrate into the Arcadia stuff?
I think I can't actually remember exactly what it was and why she headhunted me, but I know she was following my content for a very long time. She saw the like messy George back in the day.
Yeah.
She saw something. She obviously liked it. I think she just thought that my values and my like ideas really aligned with Arcadia's values. So that was why. And then what was your other question? Sorry.
How did she approach you? What was your sort of first project with Arcadia?
So she sent me a message on TikTok, and I was over the moon. I was like bawling. And the first project was, I think it was getting sent the enclosure and stuff, and the supplements and UVB and grow lights for the frogs. But then they were like, oh yeah, we're actually working on something new, you know, like if this goes well, then we'll like let you know what that is, and like we can work on that. And then Luminize became a thing, and they got I think it was me and Jodie at the same time on that.
Exciting stuff.
Not Jodie, sorry, Tori.
Okay, yeah. For Tori's Exotics.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So yeah, you managed to get to know the inside. Oh, yeah, we're all knocking stuff over. The inside. It's all right. The inside knowledge before the other people. So are you working? Obviously, if you can't say, don't say it. But is there anything you're working on now that we can look forward to in the future? You can say yes without telling us what it is as well. If there is,
I cannot disclose. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine.
Nope. But I am working on some projects, my own sort of personal like ideas regarding like Arcadia products. So like I'm going to expand on the book series.
Yep.
Paul said it was a Mexican wave of fools.
Thanks, Paul.
But yeah, I'm working on the rest of the books. I'm actually working on the amphibian and reptile nutrition one, and I'm going to be collaborating with Nay from Pip and Friends.
Yep.
So we're going to talk about this one. She's going to be talking about like the vitamins and minerals side of things. Okay. Really excited about that. We'll probably like start filming soon. And she's been doing a lot of research, bless her, and she's nailing it. And then with other projects that I can reveal, SFG, I'm just going to be working a little bit more on that, some more content, because everything's just been so hectic at the moment. I haven't had time.
Yeah.
So, excuse me, I'm going to work towards that.
Exciting stuff. And can we expect to see any Riddler Reptiles-esque videos of SFG reviews coming from yourself, or is it just him and his weird lizard mask?
I'm not going to overstep what Andrew's doing. I think he is the best for that sort of content. Like, I'm not going to overshadow that, so no, I'll leave that side to Andrew because it's phenomenal.
I am disappointed that I haven't seen him eat it yet, though.
Right. It was the cuffs with the lizards. Oh my god.
At the end of the video, I was expecting him to take a sip of that, not to be
for real.
So yeah, I think the pressure is on. When he eventually watches this back, because he's never here for a live episode, I'm sure that he'll feel even more pressure. Come on, Riddler, we want to see you
with his content, and I know for a fact John loves it. So they literally have had ideas for him for this release. Oh, he ran with it with that like lizard mask. Oh my god, he's insane.
He's done an absolutely great job. Bless him. Right, let's move away from Arcadia, and we're gonna go on to female keepers of reptiles. So this is a topic that I feel I'm not qualified to talk about, but I feel like you are quite well spoken about the topic, and I don't want to be being like I don't know. I don't want to be coming across as a knob, for want of a better word.
You're not a
knob. There's a lot of women and females and ladies, or whatever you want to call yourselves, in the reptile hobby. In fact, I think a recent survey said there was more ladies than there are men. Which is exciting.
I think that was Exotic Keeper magazine, wasn't it?
Yeah, which is exciting. And I think that women are doing a lot for the reptile hobby. I think a lot of men, especially the older generation, are very stuck in their ways, and there seems to be an influx of newer, younger female keepers that are really pushing that husbandry, the changes, and I think it's fantastic. But as a man, I'm obviously oblivious to sort of the struggles of the female keeper. I don't experience it. I try and be as inclusive as possible, but there are definite struggles that women come up against every day in the reptile hobby. So, what particular things can you think of that come to your head that you are like do struggle with day to day as a female keeper, and how and why can we change this? Does that all make sense?
Yeah, that makes 100% sense. So I think often I've experienced it myself. Like, first and foremost, like, we are often overlooked, not represented. We're undermined when it comes to our ideas and our efforts, I think, in the community. I think it can be really like frustrating as well to see how much we've put into moving it forward and we're not really getting any respect back.
Right.
Obviously there's keepers and content creators that are male in the hobby, in the community, that are really inclusive and are doing their bit in sort of making sure that we're heard and that sort of thing. But I think, like you say, it's that older generation of male keepers that are quite stuck in their ways, that are just
I don't want to tar everyone with the same brush. Obviously there are plenty of older male keepers that are great as well, but that's where I sort of see the sort of I don't even know what that's where I see the negative side of it coming from more often than not.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, there's quite a lot of like sort of disrespectful comments, but the worst thing that I've had happened is where I've just been really, really like sexualized. And it was actually, I think, one of my Arcadia partnerships. Someone had commented something really like objectifying and like sexualized about me.
There's no need for it, especially like there's no need for it ever. Like, I just don't get it.
Yeah, but it was about the fact that I was just wearing like a crop top or something like that. And they were like, oh my God, if I like wore a low cut top, would I also get sent products for free from Arcadia? And it was just like, what do you mean?
Yeah,
like, I worked for this, bro. Like, come on. But yeah, just no acknowledgement of accomplishments and how far we have moved the hobby, I think. Yeah, I think just highlighting women's voices, creating spaces where we do feel safe, like podcasts like this, and just calling out the like inappropriate behavior as soon as it happens.
Yeah, I'm just going to go back to the comments. There's a few comments about this as well. Paul says, but do we think that's by the minority? Do we think that's by the minority that is negative for the hobby anyway, or the majority are mean? What? Can you rephrase the comment, Paul? I don't know if it's just me being tired or that doesn't make much sense to me. Does it make sense to you?
I'm confused.
Yeah, no, that's fine. We'll come back to that one. I'm sure I'll comment again. Cassie says the amount of messages that I get are disgusting. Yeah, so I don't understand. My mum is quite prolific on social media, so she does accountability and wellness and that sort of thing, and she gets ridiculous messages every day. Like, it's disgusting. Pip friends are gobsmacked about the comment. I presume that's a comment from on your Arcadia post.
Yeah.
God forbid I show my arm. Yeah, how dare you show any skin? I want you full hoodie, trackies, or gloves on your hands. Paul says, "Don't worry." So we will go past that one.
No worries.
Yeah, no, that's fine. But there are a lot of positive things about. Well, obviously, it's all positive that there's lots of women in the hobby, but ignoring the minority that are idiots.
Because it is just the minority. Like, I've got some really lovely positive relationships with men in the hobby that are nothing but supportive and have done nothing but empower me and my ideas. And it's great, you know, but you have those people that just ruin it. And,
so we'll call them out on their shit, basically.
Yeah.
Because nobody needs to deal with that. We're all reptile lovers, and we're all people, regardless of anything else. So we just sort of touched on that. I think we'll go over it again anyway. Like I said, I think women in the hobby are really, especially at the moment, in the forefront of evolving the hobby. Do you think there's particular reason why like young female keepers seem to be able to make the hobby evolve quicker, possibly, or I don't know where the or is going, to be fair.
I'm not really sure why like women have progressed it so much, but I think just enrichment and ethical care and long-term health and well-being for animals has just come a long way. I'm not really sure what happened and why, but I think it's just a positive change regardless.
It's definitely a very quickly changing as well.
It's very quick.
I'm just going to go back to Paul's comment quickly because he's
for sure.
He said, the people who are mean and gross and dismissive are probably the trolls that don't represent the hobby anyway.
Yeah.
Do we think that is that? Or are we seeing it from more people than we aren't? And I think we did cover it. It is the minority that are knobs for the best word.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, back to evolving the hobby. It's gone very quickly, especially like I said in the last 5 years with things like the dimmable UVBs, the Arcadia's is it the feeding calendar? The 8 I know you mentioned it, like the 8 days. I can't remember what they exactly call it. That's the one, and lots of things like that we weren't seeing 10 years ago, or if we were, it wasn't very spoken about. There seems to be a lot of influencers like yourself really pushing it, which I think is absolutely fantastic.
Definitely.
I'm just trying to keep up with the comments as well.
Yeah, no worries.
What's that one? I don't think the change has been sex-based. I think it's social media overall, but it is dragged down by the hobby. And he said it. I also don't think my comment.
I definitely think having like social media as mainstream as it is, like that's definitely pushed it. Just new ideas coming from all which way, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I don't know if it's based purely on gender, but it's definitely something to do with all of the above, you know. All of the things going on.
No, I think it might just be that there seems to be a lot of female influencers over male influencers in the hobby, so maybe that's where we're seeing a lot more of it coming from female keepers. It's just because there are more of you doing TikTok, Instagram, whatever it is. Where quite a lot of the guys, especially the ones that I know, they'll post, but it's not as often, and they're not as like pushing it as much. They're keeping well at home, but they're not as influential online, I suppose.
I guess there's less of that sort of discussion on like ethical practices from men. I do more often than not see it from women. That sort of push for ethical husbandry over like from male content.
Okay.
Just for me personally, but it might just be that that's the side of social media I'm on, so that's just probably a very biased.
It is interesting how it changed as well, because when I used to keep a long time, well, when I first started keeping, we used RFUK a lot and like a lot of internet forums, and on the forums you would have like proper long discussions and stuff. But on social media platforms now, Instagram, Facebook, whatever, you get someone's asked a question, you get 12 people that quickly like jab in with a couple of sentence response that isn't particularly constructive, and then that's it done. So I think the social media is almost tearing apart the community at the same time as trying to build it up.
That's why EDB is such a good movement and why we need it.
Which is a fantastic segue, because that is where I am moving. So, Team EDB, Educate Don't Berate. What is it? How do you get involved? And what are the short and long-term goals of the group?
Yes, so Team EDB, I'm really excited to talk about it. So it's a movement where we promote kindness and constructive dialogue for the exotic pet community, driving sort of that educational, forefront. And then basically it's just about guiding people towards proper care without like shaming or belittling them. It creates like a really nice supportive and progressive community. I got involved basically when I was invited to join by team leader and my best friend Nay, who leads Team EDB. And I've been part of the group since. And in the short term, we're going to be making some more videos around Christmas time about sort of, I don't know how much I can disclose, but just some Christmas content.
Yep.
To just try and spread the message as far and wide as we can. And then with the long-term sort of goals, we hope to work with other brands, work with some charities, speak at maybe some reptile shows and expos.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's kind of as much as I can say.
No, it's fine.
Right
No, it's cool. I like when Andrew told me that he was part of Team EDB. I did a bit of a deep dive and was learning like the ethos and stuff behind it. And I think what you're doing is fantastic because, like I said, on
It's
Facebook,
amazing.
you'll get someone ask a question. For example, I bought a bearded dragon. This is the setup, and instead of people going, "Oh, unfortunately, you've been missold the setup" or whatever, you get a group of 150 people going, "Oh my god, you've done this wrong! You're terrible people! It's all going to die." And you guys are doing the nice thing and going, "Oh, congratulations on the beardy. We really like it. It looks great. Here's a few things you can change," without making this person feel like they've just committed murder to millions
for
of
real.
people. Because unfortunately, especially the online reptile community, mainly on Facebook, is a horrible place.
On TikTok is pretty brutal.
Yeah, I don't actually, like I said, I don't
Been
really
there,
use TikTok
done
that
that.
much. So yeah, so
Like, yeah, it was rough.
yeah, no, it's good. So you're doing the Team EDB is fantastic, and
it's an amazing movement that I'm really privileged to be part of. And yeah, team leader Nay, use the hashtag Team EDB or hashtag Educate Don't Berate. And then if you are interested in joining or being part of the team, you can message her and speak to her about that. And as a team, we sort of either accept or reject group requests.
okay, yeah, no worries. And then so how does the team, let's talk a bit more about EDB. How so if someone wants to get in touch because they have questions, not they don't want to join, but they're maybe thinking about getting a pet, or they've got something new and they're not sure they're doing it correctly, how do they go about contacting Team EDB? Is there like a central hub and then it can get pinged off to the correct expert, or
so I think Nay, I would reach out to Nay, Pip and Friends,
Yep.
and then she can always redirect if she's not sure. So we've got more niche interests. So for example, I work very closely with Vietnamese mossy frogs. So if it's a question on that, she'd direct them to me. If it's something like leopard geckos, they might get redirected towards Kaylee. If it's something about hoggle and boas, to Tara, etc. So she'd then pass that on.
right, okay.
There might be a better way that we can do that. So whether they fill out a Google Forms form or something like that, that can always be brought up at the next Team EDB meeting, because we're very distinguished over here and we have team meetings.
Fantastic. I hope there's someone taking minutes and you've all got snacks.
Yeah,
no, something like that would work, or maybe even something like, not that I'm telling you guys how to do it, but like a Team EDB Instagram account where they can message, and then from whoever's managing that can go,
we might be working on it.
Fantastic. Yep. That's what we like to hear. That's what we like to hear. And what's the comment? Dan is saying, things. Where is Riddler? Riddler's never here, but he is the Team EDB DIY expert, from what I understand.
That's his specialism for Team EDB, is his amazing builds.
Yeah, he does do a good job, to be fair.
He's phenomenal.
He's like the class clown, but he's very talented in his own way.
He's a great asset for the team.
Honestly, I don't know why, but he always comes up so much in a podcast at the moment, and I feel like I'm just constantly blowing smoke up his bottom. And he's not even here to support me, honestly. Right, it's about time we start to wrap up, I think, unless there's anything in particular you wanted to touch on about Arcadia or EDB. You did say you might reveal an exclusive.
Oh, yes. So... oh my gosh. So I haven't said this before, but you can expect a little foreword from me in John Courtney Smith's new book, Earth.
Awesome stuff. Stuff.
I'm really excited. And I'm also going to be... soon. Sorry, what did you say?
And that's out at some point soon, but we're not sure when yet.
What was that, sorry?
The book is out at some point soon, but we don't know when just
next year. Yeah. And I'm also possibly going to be lecturing at a university on sort of reptile and amphibian keeping.
That's awesome.
And husbandry. Awesome. So I'm really excited about those two things.
Do you know if the new Arcadia book will be out this side of Christmas?
No, it'll
It
be
won't
next
be.
time.
There we go. So early 2025. Keep your eyes peeled for John's new book with a foreword from George. That's awesome.
Yes, I'm very excited. Oh my god, I like screamed when he told me. You WhatsApp me
I
like
can
George.
imagine. That's
I was like,
amazing.
John.
Right. It is time for our wrap up question for today.
Let's go. I want
George,
to talk about biscuits again.
Yeah, no, we're part of biscuits. So I asked this question to every guest. It's a double-barreled question. So space, time, legality, all that sort of money stuff is not an issue. Which reptile would you love to keep? And B, which non-reptile would you love to keep?
I've had to think about these. So I'm going to be really boring and say like Hog Island boa for my first one, just because that is next on my wish list. That is the next animal I want. Or maybe just, if I'm going to spice it up, which isn't really spicing it up, just a boa.
Okay, no, that's cool.
I love boas. I want another big snake. So let's go. And then when it comes to non-reptile related, I had a think.
Yeah.
And you know what I think would be really cool to keep? Jellyfish.
Okay.
For some reason, that is just so cool to me. So
no, I think that is cool. I've seen a few. Like I get quite a lot of fish content on my Instagram feed, and I've seen a few jellyfish tanks, and I think that would actually be a really cool thing.
Right.
Yeah,
I can they're so mesmerizing. So
yeah, you can have them next to your telly and just watch them sort of.
Yeah, like tropical, massive, crazy fish tank with like coral, all expensive coral stuff, and then jellyfish just going.
Awesome stuff. So a Hog Island boa and some jellyfish.
Yeah, I don't know. I just love it.
Yeah, I like it. I don't think we've had either of those come up yet either. I need to have a list.
What examples have you had before reptile related?
You're gonna put me on the spot now. I can't think of anything. Like Komodo dragon is quite a common one. Because it's cool, and it's the biggest lizard we can get. And then I think non-reptile. Somebody said pigs, which was different.
Not for me, but
I can't think of anything else off the top of my head. Unfortunately, I've got a terrible memory.
That's okay. Elephant would be another one.
Yeah, elephants would be cool.
I love elephants. They're so cute.
I'm a big fan. I'm hoping to go to South Africa at some point in the near future and go and see them.
Amazing. That's really cool.
Yeah, I say near future, it probably won't be, but manifest it.
Yeah.
Right. George, and the final question for today is, where can people find you?
Yeah, so pretty much any social media platform, whether that's YouTube, Instagram, Threads, TikTok, Facebook, at Reptilian Mentality.
Awesome stuff. And I have put the link to your Instagram in the show notes below. So if people head there, they can find you wherever else they want to be as well.
Yeah, my link tree is in my bio, which takes you to all of my other socials.
Fantastic. Well, George, there we have it. I've really enjoyed this episode. It's been cool, nice little exclusive as well. So thank you very much for that.
Yeah, no worries. Happy to
help. Been an absolute pleasure. So I'll say goodbye. I'm going to send you back to the green room, but please don't actually disappear anywhere yet, because we'll have a little debrief after the episode. Okay. All right. But it's been lovely to have you on. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Next time. Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye. Well, folks, there we have it. Before you go, please do me a little favor, wherever you're listening, be it YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Google, any other audio streaming platform. If you're not already, please subscribe or follow, or I don't know what the other options are on this, but push that button, the button that does the subscribing. And if you are able to, please give it a 5-star rating as well. If you're on YouTube, give it a thumbs up, and please remember to go and leave a comment after the episode, because the live comments don't stay on the video. But it's all free and it all massively helps. Don't forget also that merch is now available. Pre-order is open from now until the 30th of November at 8 p.m. If you want to know more, I can't even speak today. DM me on Instagram, and I'll ping you over all the information. And last but not least, if you want to keep up to date with me and the podcast, head over to your preferred social media, search for ReptiChat, and I'm sure I will pop up. And don't forget, there is a link to Patreon in the show notes below. That is all from me today. I've been Ben McIntyre. This has been a ReptiChat podcast. I will see you in a fortnight. Until then, bye-bye.